Good morning and welcome to my presentation. My name is Cristy O'Connor. I'm a senior business advisor with Cultivate Advisors. We're a group of all past entrepreneurs, or we could say serial entrepreneurs. And we work with businesses and helping them scale their business to be able to exit successfully and build their enterprise value. I'm also a certified exit planning advisor, have a CEPA designation through the Exit Planning Institute. So today we are going to kind of uncover what is exit readiness, what are the different pieces that engage in that. We're going to cover a lot of stats and data. What's really cool is through the Exit Planning Institute, we've done national surveys, as well as we have Colorado-specific survey data from 2022. So I'm really excited for everyone to get an idea of what's happening within our state. We're going to go through a quick checklist of how do you determine if you're ready, 10 things that you can really take in consideration to determine your readiness. And then also, what are the most common readiness issues that stop you from being in the right position to sell your business, and then the next steps. So what is exit readiness? Exit readiness is not just about deciding to sell the business. It's a comprehensive state of fact, and it's not merely a state of mind. Let's explore this topic through two different considerations. Is the owner, you yourself, ready? And is the business ready? A lot of times I find people are not focused on themselves, but only the business when it comes to an exit. So before we delve into the intricacies of exit readiness, it's vital to understand that it's not solely a decision to sell. It's about something much more tangible. Exit readiness isn't just a mindset shift. It's about tangible preparations that can profoundly impact the outcome of your business transition. Let's break it down into these two considerations that are going to play a pivotal role in the process. First, we must assess whether the owner is ready for the transition. This involves not only your financial considerations, but the emotional readiness. And that's why I have on here the ugly baby syndrome. Are you all familiar with that? Most business owners have their identity attached to their business, and they think their business is the best no matter what. But when we take that business to market, we find that a buyer is going to go through your business with a fine-tooth comb and uncover things that you didn't even recognize. Probably could be a challenge or an issue. So we must evaluate whether the business itself is ready for the transition. This also encompasses the financial stability of the business, the operational efficiency of the business, and is there strategic alignment in the business? So what is exit readiness? It first starts with financial preparedness. It's the cornerstone of exit readiness. This encompasses both business and personal financial aspects. For the business, it means optimizing your financial performance. This involves ensuring you have accurate and up-to-date financial records, evaluating your company's valuation. If you haven't had a valuation done on your company and you're even looking to exit anywhere from 1 to 5 years, it's a really good practice to get that done. And then also, this allows you to identify areas for financial improvement. On a personal level, it's equally important, and you need to assess your personal financial goals and needs. You want to be able to establish a plan for your personal financial security after exit. When you exit your business, you're no longer going to have that revenue and income to live off of in an effective way. And when we dive into operational readiness, this is what ensures that the business can run effectively and efficiently without over-reliance on key individuals. So often, us as business owners are the people that make that business run. You want to ensure that the business is a well-oiled machine without you. Things that you can do to be proactive in making sure that that happens is making sure that you have streamlining and well-documented processes and workflows, identifying any risks and challenges that you just put up with every day that someone coming in is not going to be willing to deal with. And you want to ensure that operationally that the business will have continuity without disruption when you do choose to exit. Strategic readiness aligns the company's long-term goals with the exit strategy. It involves forward thinking and preparation. Actions that you can take for strategic readiness is making sure you have diversified revenue streams, right? Most businesses that get the highest multiples are going to have either monthly recurring revenue, pre-contracts that are signed for an extended period of time. Make sure that you don't have client or customer concentration where all of your revenue is coming from more than 20%, right? You want to make sure that you have future opportunity to continue to expand the customer base. And from a strategic readiness, it's your job to start identifying potential acquirers or investors as well. When it comes to readiness for legal and compliance, you want to make sure that you're minimizing legal risks during the exit process. It's about ensuring all that your contracts, agreements, and regulatory requirements are in order. And then one that people don't always think about is cultural readiness. This addresses the human element of the transition. Make sure that your teams are prepared for the changes, ensure that the employees are informed and motivated, and make sure that you're fostering a positive and supportive culture. I do want to give a caveat there. Do not tell employees prior to the sale that you're selling the business, unless they are a key person that is actually going to be involved in that transition where you're actually creating a compensation plan for them to stay on board. So as you can see, exit readiness is multifaceted and there's many things to consider. So as an owner of your business, when should you start planning for your exit? I see some people are saying 20 years and 10 years. Truthfully, you need to be planning now. Exit is a business strategy. That means that planning for how you will eventually exit or transition out of your business is an integral part of your overall business strategy. At the Exit Planning Institute, every single quarter, we work with our clients and saying, are you ready to sell your business or do you want to keep your business? It's something you should evaluate every single quarter because there's things that come up and change in our lives that if we take that really deep look and understand, is this a time for me to sell? It emphasizes that exit planning should not be considered as a separated, isolated activity, but you should always be looking at your business on how can I improve it to be better in the eyes of a potential buyer. So not to scare anyone, but did you know that 20 to 30% of businesses listed for sale fail to find a buyer? 20 to 30%. And additionally, and so to Sarah's point, selling internal is a great option. And additionally, only 30% of family-owned businesses successfully transition to the second generation and only 12% to a third generation. So why am I sharing this? Because it is important to make sure that you understand all your options before it's time to exit, because what you thought your plan was may not be the actual plan that happens. So now we're going to kind of cover some of the stats from the National State of Owner Readiness. Let's start by looking at these stats here that show an impressive 99% of owners agree that having a transition strategy is crucial for their future and the future of their business. The urgency is further highlighted by the fact that 40% of baby boomers that are business owners are looking to sell their business in the next 5 years. Now, remember that 40% in the next 5 years, because when we go to this next slide, be like, wow, how is someone even going to be able to sell their business? So some of the common challenges for owners are a significant 60% do not even understand what their exit options are. 30% lack a transition plan, and a staggering 79% have no written transition plan at all. And in addition, if we go back to most people are looking to exit in 5 years, 49% have done no planning at all. So how are you going to exit, right? And 80% have not formed a formal transition advisory team. This is a really key step that allows you to take that burden off of yourself and work with professionals around you that can guide you down this path so you don't have to do it alone. And then 94% have no written plan for their next chapter. We call it their next chapter, their third act, the next part of life, right? And the reason why that is important is because 75% of owners regret selling their businesses after 1 year. And that is because we have an emotional tie and our identity is tied to that business. In addition, 80% of owners' wealth is tied up in their business. So if you're not taking the steps to ensure that your business's value is where it needs to be for your financial success, you could have a really, really scary future in front of you. And then 50% of business transitions, 50% are involuntary. And those are due to events that we like to call the 5 Ds: death, disability, divorce, disagreement among partners, or even just distress. So this is why it is so important to be exit ready at any point in time, because you don't know when a great opportunity will strike or when a devastating opportunity will strike. So we saw kind of the high level national of where people are standing. Now we're going to dive a little bit deeper into our own state here in Colorado, and shed a little bit of light on how our businesses are prepared for an exit personally. So if you take a closer look at this chart, it reveals that over 52% of businesses in Colorado are currently planning to exit in 1 to 5 years. Those of you that are looking to grow your business, to have a greater exit yourself in 5 to 10 years, now might be a good time to start looking at an acquisition or a merger. These statistics underscore the urgency for business owners to have a well-written and thought-out exit plan. And as we saw before, most of us don't have it, right? And then now this shows us that a staggering 68% of business owners have given little or no thought to their exit strategy, despite the fact that 40% are looking to exit in the next 1 to 5 years. So this is a critical gap in preparedness that needs immediate attention. So we also identified who has a written plan and what are the different objectives of the written plan. If you don't understand what a written plan is, take a screenshot of this, because this gives you a great starting point to understand what are the key areas that you need to focus on. So it illustrates the key components. Having clear goals and objectives is paramount. It's the foundation upon which your exit plan is built. Equally crucial is having a well-defined action plan on how you're going to execute those goals. A personal readiness assessment is basically kind of walking through with a valued advisor on what is it that you need to do and prepare to exit your business effectively. And you can see down lower, it talks about having a written estate plan, having an effective tax strategy, right? So you need to identify your personal risk profile. What are you willing to take risks on, right? And how is that going to affect your exit? Make sure that you have your personal financial plan crafted in collaboration with your financial advisor. Again, if you don't have a clear picture of what your needs are after exiting the business, it makes it really hard to say yes to that offer that you may be considering. And then it's always important to work closely with your CPA or tax professional to minimize your tax burden, and make sure that you always have an updated estate plan so that you can ensure that you can secure your legacy. So if you look here, you can kind of see where people are at here in Colorado on having these different plans in place. Where do you stand? And what areas do you feel like you need to go start working on? Because as we discussed earlier, planning for your third act or your post-transition is absolutely vital. While 41% of business owners just plan to retire, it's important to note that those who intend to stay active on a board, become a consultant, buy another business again, they still need to have a clear plan on how they're going to do that and be proactive to ensure that you have a smooth transition. This graph just offers another perspective and a different way of looking at it on how having a well-defined transition plan is important. As we stated, 52% of business owners are actively looking to sell. So the fact that only 20% of them, a little over 20%, currently have no plan in place, it's definitely something to be concerned about. The gap of preparedness significantly contributes to the regret that's experienced by over 70% of the business owners once they sell their business. And then another slide, I would highly recommend, if you'd like to, take a snapshot of this, because when I talk about a comprehensive written plan, what does that really entail? So this here kind of gives you a breakdown of what it does. Your plan should clearly outline both your exit goals and your objectives for your third act in life. It's essential to identify the specific actions that are required for an effective exit to maximize your business's enterprise value. Have you done any kind of market research? Right? Conducting thorough market research helps you understand your business's attractiveness to potential buyers. Assessing and mitigating risks associated with your business is absolutely important. There's sometimes people might have legal issues that are going on and they haven't even disclosed that or taken care of them, right? Additionally, it's important that you're looking at your business from using recasted financial statements. And what I mean by recasted is it's almost taking you as the owner, all your expenses, maybe the personal expenses that you run through your business, to make sure the financial statement is a true picture of what the business would be with or without you. Do you have you done a recent business valuation? Again, I would say between 1 and 5 years prior to exit, it's really important to get a formal valuation done on your business to understand where you stand in the market. Setting growth goals that will allow you to maximize your value at exit is extremely important. And then make sure that you implement the value enhancement strategies, such as streamlining and documenting your standard operating procedures. If I'm a buyer coming into your company and everything that you do is in your head or your key employee's head, and it's not documented, I'm going to start taking money off the top because I'm going to have to figure it out, right? You want to make your business as turnkey as possible, and that makes it extremely attractive to the buyer. Finally, you want to make sure that you're exploring all your transition options, whether it's a private sale, an internal sale, a legacy transition, a private equity deal, or a merger and acquisition. I like to advise clients. A lot of clients get non-solicited offers. Hey, my competitor wants to buy me, right? And it's like, oh, okay. Well, I don't even know what my business is worth. And so when you do your due diligence and you engage with private equity or a merger and acquisition company and find what the market demand is for your business, it allows you to make a better, more informed decision versus just saying yes to the first offer that comes across the table. So at this point, you might be wondering, how do I know if I'm actually prepared as an owner to exit my business? And so we're going to go through about 10 different items here that you should be kind of evaluating yourself against to understand if you are ready or if there's areas that you need to give more attention to. So here are the key actions to get yourself prepared for an exit. You're prepared when you've educated yourself on the transition process. What does due diligence look like, right? What type of potential buyers do I need to be engaging with? What things do I need to get in order? Are my business partners, if I have them, do they have the same vision of selling in a certain period of time? It's important to involve your loved ones in this decision as well, especially if your business has been the primary breadwinner for the entire family. Alignment between your personal, financial, and business goals. So in exit planning and other areas, we call this the 3 legs of the stool. If you're only focused on the business and the business financials and not your personal, your exit won't be as successful. So make sure that every single aspect of that has a plan. And then establishing a transition advisory team is vital. So that could consist of experts like CPAs, business attorneys, estate planning attorneys, financial advisors, and business advisors like myself that can come in and help build that enterprise value. It's important to complete a contingency plan. You should have a contingency plan in place today. If something happened to you, can your business still run without you? And who would actually take that home? It also includes buy-sell instructions, making sure that you have appropriate insurance. And lastly, you're prepared when you've conducted a strategic analysis, a formal business valuation, and your personal financial and business assessments within the last year, and that you actually take time to regularly review those because our needs change. Some additional things to consider if you're prepared for an exit. What does the optimum deal structure look like? Do you want to just sell outright? Do you want to stay on for 5 years and try to get a second bite of the apple? What is that optimum deal structure that works best for you and potentially your employees? Do you have a written transition plan for that third act that excites you? Because so many people get cold feet at the last minute of the sale because they have no clue what they're going to do next. Pre-transition value enhancement is extremely important. Again, value enhancement is how do we enhance our tangible and intangible assets of the business, making sure that you've done your due diligence and that you have a potential management program underway to ensure that post-transition, your key leadership stays in place and the business operates without you. The last thing you want to do is sell your business to somebody and have it fall apart because it was so dependent on key employees. So since we have a little bit of a smaller group here, I'd love anyone to kind of chime in either in the chat or wherever they want and just give us an idea of what would you imagine are the typical readiness and preparedness issues of the business when it comes to exit?
For me, the main problem is that I'm the rainmaker and bread maker in the company. And without me, the company doesn't have as much value.
Right. So you have key man dependency, right?
Have what?
Key person dependency.
Yeah, I'm the key person.
Yep. And so how do we start getting all of the information out of your head so that someone else can come in and do exactly what you do, right? That's a great example. Anyone else? Thank you.
Sorry, I have one. I think, just the balance between the operation that's happening all the time and then the valuation piece. I feel like the company valuation is a it's like writing the plan, right? So it's a forecast kind of that actually matters, and that balance is a challenge for me.
Makes perfect sense. I would agree with you. Thank you.
I've got one other one too. I think because of the way that my business is structured, I did learn the valuation percentage because I am a customer-based organization. So it's not guaranteed that my customers will, my clients will go ahead along with this plan. The way when I experienced this with, of course, bringing on a much smaller organization, I wanted to be in a specific neighborhood. I'm in landscape, gardening design, and maintenance, but maintenance is our biggest piece of the puzzle. And my lawyers have said that having contracts are worth nothing. And unless you're willing to sue somebody, if a client of mine decides they don't want to stay with me for a year, the contract is worth nothing. Even if they've signed something, in Colorado law, I have learned that it is just worth toilet paper, unless you're willing to bring this person to court to say, oh, you signed this contract that said you were going to stay with us. So for me, it's like the transitional phase, like of how do you, the way she did it with me was, I did not like the way she did it with me, where she still tried to act like like she was passing it off to me, but she would still be involved. So I don't know. I don't even know what the hell I'm asking, really. Other than that, it's like a totally complicated part of it because I have such a personal relationship with my clients over these 20 years. And that's why I think I'm looking into the employee-owned model at this point. But if my employees can't pull off the capital, how do I think about the structure of do they, is it profit sharing? I stay on board. I don't know. There's too many questions for this small session. I'll stop there.
Sarah, I appreciate your transparency, but you've brought up some great points that a lot of business owners go through as well. And, law does dictate, are those contracts valid? Are they not? Right. And when we do have personal relationships in businesses, all we can do is hope, really, that our customers will stick around because of the great brand that we have developed. And so we could go into a whole nother thing, and we're going to talk about these as some of the tangible and intangible things that you can do. Because it sounds like your brand is a lot of you, and that's a really hard thing to get away from. Contracts still in the buyer's eye, they have the opportunity to go in and keep those relationships versus having to start from scratch. So as far as the customer's choice, they 100% have the choice. But as a buyer, it gives me a little bit of security, knowing that there are contracts in place. And if I can come in and shine and offer the same level of customer service that you do, I potentially will be successful, right? So some common personal readiness issues. So this is personal side of things. A potential loss of identity and lack of support. Many business owners find their purpose and self-worth in their businesses. I think it's becoming a little bit less as our generations continue to age. But again, making that post-transition goal setting is really important. On the personal side, you have a lack of consideration for your passions outside of business. How are you actually going to spend your time, right? Not having an advisory board. Sarah, I'd highly recommend finding people around you that can help you. Yes, Tim, I will get to you in 1 second. And then not having a contingency plan also hinders your readiness. So, Tim, what can
I think you mentioned advisory board in one of the earlier slides, and that's one of the questions I kind of took a note on is how do you decide who goes on that? How large do you suggest that be? I mean, is it peers? Is it, your investors, current investors, or is it customers or, family? I don't know. What do you suggest on roughly, at least, what that might look like?
Yeah, the basic advisory board that I suggest is, your investment bankers, anyone that's going to help you create the deals, your business attorney, your CPA, anyone that's dealing with taxes for you, whether that's specific in tax advisory or your CPA. Your financial advisor is absolutely pivotal. And a lot of times, someone like myself as a business advisor basically kind of quarterbacks all of that. Right. You can typically go to your most trusted resource or advisor that you have now, and they will probably have some people to refer you to that they know they work well with and that they can actually put together the board with and for you. But that's a great question.
Thank you.
Yeah. So some common financial readiness issues is often revolve around the high income needs post-transition, right? Again, I mentioned it earlier that your business is fueling your lifestyle, and people don't understand once that revenue kind of stops, how their lifestyle may or may not have to change. So it's a lack of understanding of your needs versus wants as you move forward. And financial plans don't always consider the business's actual value. We can get valuations, we can do all this pre-prep to determine what our business is worth, but really the market dictates the actual price of the business. And so it's also important to understand, what are the net proceeds? There's a cost to selling your business. There's taxes. There's the advisory people that you're utilizing, right? And then you also need to identify what your risk sensitivity is, because how willing are you to take risks to either maximize the value or just leave your business? And so I mentioned earlier that there's tangible and intangible factors when you're preparing your business for exit. They play a significant role because this is what helps determine the overall value and attractiveness to potential buyers. So some tangible factors are your physical assets. These include equipment, machinery, real estate, inventory, anything that's physical property owned by the business. These assets are relatively easy to assess and include in the valuation process. A lot of people own a building and they have their business in it. Are you selling both the building and the business together? Or are you going to keep the business as potential revenue income stream for you? When it comes to financial statements, that is also a tangible factor. And what is the financial health of the business? This is assessed through an audit by financial statements, again, utilizing your professionals such as your CPAs. This includes evaluating your income and cash flow statements, your balance statements, and this provides a clear picture of where your health of your business is. And then, as I've mentioned a few times, another one is the market value is a tangible asset. It's determined by researching what's happening in the industry and utilizing those comparisons. So again, going back to the real estate, it's really easy to assess and compare the value of real estate that's actually being sold in your area. And then the last tangible one that's really important is your legal and compliance, making sure that your contracts, license, permits, and if you have any ongoing legal issues, that is all cleaned up so that you can have a smooth transition of the business. The one that most business owners don't recognize truly impact their final value of their business are the intangible factors. This is such as your brand and reputation, right? Brand recognition and reputation can significantly impact your business's value. A strong brand position and positive reputation in the market commands a higher selling price. And if you have anything that's damaged, it can devalue your business. Also, if you have no reputation at all, it can devalue your business. Customer relationships. just as Sarah was talking about. That is extremely valuable. Loyal customer base and long-term contracts does make a business more attractive. Monthly recurring revenue from clients makes a business more attractive as well. Do you have intellectual property? Have you created patents, trademarks, copyrights, proprietary technology? This is something that can be immensely valuable, and some buyers may be interested in acquiring you just for that piece, right? Employee talent is extremely important as well. I'll get to you in 1 minute, Sarah. The skills and expertise of the workforce can be significant when it comes to the intangibles. So highly skilled and experienced employees can be a key selling point. I really love the philosophy of the Exit Planning Institute. It's a father and son that run it. It is a business, and all of their employees know that they're going to eventually exit. They know that they're there, and they talk about it every single quarter. And they say, is it time to sell, or do we want to keep running with our business? So the more transparent you can be from the beginning, the more your employees will actually feel bought in. And then some other ones is your business process. Again, I've talked about this, but so many people having efficient and well-documented business processes and systems is a huge intangible asset. A buyer may be willing to pay more for a business that has smooth operations at the end of the day and procedures in place. Customer data is another thing, contracts and agreements, and then just goodwill. So when preparing an exit, it's essential to assess the documents in both your tangible and intangible factors to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success. Buyers evaluate on these elements, and it's important for you to realize the risk associated with not having all of those ducks in a row. Sarah, I will take your question at the end. I just have a couple more slides. So what are the benefits of being exit ready? When you focus on making your business exit ready, even without immediate plans to sell, you benefit from building a top performing team. You have a contingency plan in place, and you're prepared for non-solicited offers. I have a client that got a non-solicited offer from his competitor, and he's like, what do I do? And I'm like, you haven't even explored anything when it comes to exit. Guess what? He doesn't even have an estate plan in place, right? The little things where I'm like, it doesn't matter if the business is ready, you're not ready. And that is so crucial. And I think it's a piece that people miss. And I told him to go do market research, go talk to investment bankers, go talk to private equity firms, see what the demand is out there. Because if your competitor buying you is your best option, then go for it. But don't until you've done your due diligence and research. So again, viewing your business as exit ready at any time provides you with peace of mind and a clear path forward to maximize your ultimate value. So what are your next steps? I think there's a lot of different things in here that we covered from a personal, financial, and business preparedness that you can start exploring on your own. And also, I offer a complimentary 90-minute assessment that we do at Cultivate. This is a health and value assessment. It is not a valuation, okay? It is a way to identify the areas in your business with the 6 key areas that you can go and affect to start improving the enterprise value in your business. So we're just really looking at enterprise value with this. You'll get a health score, and then you'll also get a roadmap to be able to identify the areas that you need to go take action in to improve that health score. Typically, you want this health score at 60% or above to even be considering an exit. So it's a great way to self-reflect and see those intangibles that you can go affect in your business, as well as some of the tangibles. At this time, I'm happy to take any questions. We have a little bit of time. Sarah, I know you had one. Please feel free to speak.
Hi. So obviously I don't want to railroad or bring us off topic, because obviously I'll be getting in touch with you. I have a lot of the things that you have already said that I have done. I have estate planning, I have business lawyers, I have reputation, I have done all of those things. But I think the place that I'm really, really stuck in, and again, just to be upfront, I'm one of the founders of GBC. And the reason that I want to sell to my employees, first and foremost, if I can, is because I do believe in that sort of equity in the workforce and being able to bring people up, even though I think I could sell my business tomorrow for a lot of money to a lot of people. I have been independently reached out to by many people. However, my ideal situation would be to even stay on in some sort of capacity, but a much smaller role. And be able to, so I just want to know if there's any pitfalls or advice that you can give me in this moment. It's probably a bigger conversation for another day, but in terms of outright selling the business versus can you do a blended version? Like, or is that going to look super bad to somebody to be like, well, 30% ownership is already within the organization and, we're offering like 70% or something like that, like, I don't know, like some of my employees have been very interested in buying in, but they don't really have any money to do that. So I just don't even know how to start on that one, but I care. I really do. I really want them to be able to buy in, but I don't know if that means I'm going to take a huge financial hit. And not to say that the money is the most important part to me, because it really isn't. However, I also still feel like I don't want to like undersell what I have built for 20 years. I don't know. Okay, I'll stop talking.
No, I love it.
Hi, Catherine.
I would love to take this conversation offline because I think there's a lot of things to still take in consideration as you discussed. But and I can't give off the cuff advice because I need to know a little more. But I feel like an ESOP might be a great option because that's something that they can buy into over time based on the profitability of the business as well. And then, maybe it's more so that you're staying on for an additional 5 years. You're bringing in someone de-risking the business that's going to take it over. They start building that relationship with the customers. So you lose that risk of your customers leaving because you're not there. And kind of like what you experienced with your previous purchase, you don't want to be like that person that probably didn't stay and support you. But getting a second bite of the apple is a great option as well. So there's a lot of different ways to structure it. Financial advisors that are business focused are a great option as well. And I definitely have some connections with you because they can talk to you a lot deeper into like the ESOPs and those internal different kinds of plans that you can create for your employees to be able to purchase. But great questions. Anyone else? Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions?
So, I guess I'm following on Sarah's, we're derailing a little bit down the employee purchase piece. In addition to just a structured ESOP, which I feel like when I looked at it a couple of years ago, it seemed like an expensive option for a small company, right? It's
just going to say that it's management option. Yeah.
Is there a way to, if there's, management levels that are people that would be interested in purchasing? I know there's a lot of different potential options, but have you ever managed or worked with someone who does a sort of almost self-financed purchase over time or something? Or like
absolutely, it's more common than you think. And again, I typically partner with financial advisors to put those plans together because they're looking at it from a very holistic perspective, and that's really their wheelhouse. But I also help them create the different compensation plans and the buy-ins and all of that. So that's why an advisory team is really important, is because we all support each other and we have to make sure that we're all looking at the business from the same lens so we're not contradicting each other. So that is one other piece I will say, because you did ask about the advisory team. Yeah. Make sure there's open and clear communication and that everybody knows each other and that they are having meetings themselves as well. Because the worst thing you can do is say, well, my CPA told me this and my business attorney told me this and my financial advisor told me this. I'm completely confused. Yeah. And I them also, what am I supposed to do? And that's something that we really emphasize at the Exit Planning Institute, of making sure that your advisory team is all working together and rowing the boat in the same direction.
And can you, I know this is a strange question, but what cost is involved with people doing that sort of advice? I mean, the financial advisor, they're getting paid money, right? But an attorney, they'll charge you by hour, versus the CPA, they go back and forth. They're kind of like, there's three different revenue streams. I mean, they all operate differently. So how do I make sure that we can get them together and not pay so much?
The cost down, right? And that's where, like, I like to look at myself as the quarterback, right? So as long as we are all working together, a lot of times if you have that ongoing, like monthly recurring relationship with one person, you can utilize that professional to be almost your liaison between those partners. And they're not going to charge another professional the way they're going to charge their client.
Oh, okay.
So I have open lines of communication with business attorneys and financial advisors where we're all working on the same client together and CPAs. And so we have those conversations openly and honestly and transparently without charging each other because we're at the best interest of our client.
Got it. Thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, perfect.
And I would like to say that there's some good GBC lawyers that I found, PS, that do some of these things. I'm not going to name drop who right now, but there's some really good firms of lawyers that are GBC members that do this stuff.
Love it. Cool. Thank you, Sarah. Well, I know we're at time here for today. I first want to thank you all for being here. I hope that you gained some valuable knowledge and information that kind of starts getting you thinking about that eventual exit and recognizing that exit planning is actually your business strategy. And it should be something you're considering every single quarter when you're evaluating and setting the goals of your business. And again, if anyone wants to have further conversations, would love to meet with you, just go ahead and fill out that Google Doc, and I'd love to have further conversations. But thank you all. Have a wonderful day.